Hey guys, Lizardlea here for day 23 of Four Heavenly Beasts, the Heaven and Earth design. I'm kind of losing my voice, so I'm going to get to it quickly. I got a new desk. It's significantly smaller than the old one. I do actually have room over here though, but we'll see. If it doesn't work, I'm just bust out the old one again and it won't matter. Here is the progress from day 22. So we're slowly getting there. You can see more of the dragon. It's very exciting. Yeah, I'm just gonna get to it. Hey guys, Lizardlea. I can't say my own name.
Alright, so a couple things before we actually start discussing what we're going to talk about for the video. The new desk did not stay. I barely worked on it for like 2 minutes before I realized, yeah, that's not going to work. So, old desk came back. I lost a lot of time.
Yeah,
but
old desk.
yeah, the old desk is much better. I still wish it was wider, but whatever. It's better than that little one. I have not dyed my hair black. I don't know, maybe it's just while I'm editing, it looks like my hair is black, but it's not. I haven't done anything to my hair. And this video, I got less than 3 hours of footage. And so I complained to David about it, and he was like, well, don't speed it up so much. So this video is only at 2 times the speed of what I normally cross stitch. So most of my videos you guys watch, I do at 900 times the speed.
Really?
Or, well, okay, so it's at 100%. So this one is at 200%. I normally do it at 900%. So 200% is double time. 900% is quadruple the time? 9 times?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, like the previous program I used, I actually could just put in the number. Like I would do 64 times the speed, so it was 64. I'm not used to doing percentages, so it just, I don't know. But yeah, it's at 900% when I do it.
So if they watch it at 2 times speed on YouTube, it'll be 800%.
Yeah. I don't know.
It'll be 400%, which will be half as fast as it used to be.
Yes. And then you won't understand a thing that I'm saying, and that's totally okay. Yeah. Or, well, no. Actually, I'll probably just sound more like this. I'll sound like a chipmunk. It'll be kind of weird. It might be annoying. I don't know. I think those are the only updates I had. So, David wonderfully left off on telling you guys you should watch Promised Neverland. I really hope a lot of you did not take him up on that without knowing anything about it, because
What?
it is not child friendly. It is not happy.
Okay, on the list of things that we have talked about, recommended, and pondered, it
should be an inclination. But Brotherhood is my number one.
It is by far one of the tamest. While it has a disturbing premise, the actual on-screen stuff that you see, even the violence is quite tame.
Yes, that is true. Yes.
In comparison to literally everything
else. Yeah.
So, it is an anime, dipping back into those.
We literally just finished it yesterday.
Yes,
Yeah,
we watched it on Funimation.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
It is.
It's one of the first things in a while that I've been like, wow, this is really good.
There were a couple times, you guys, he put his laptop down. It was amazing.
I love you too, dear.
There were also a couple times when I told you to put your laptop down.
I love you too, dear.
I love you more.
So, the brief premise, and this will be a light spoiler, but it's stuff you find out at the end of the very first episode, is there's these children living in an orphanage, and it's kind of like a 1800s kind of vibe, like
old.
Yeah, older style, like wooden house, you know,
no electronics.
Yeah. And the kids are playing, except the only thing that's a little bit anachronistic is, while these kids play, there's like 30-some of them, I think.
37.
37.
And they range from newborn, basically, to 11 years old.
Yes. And they play around, and it's very wholesome. And they have a mother, air quotes. They know it's not their mother. It's just a woman who watches over them, who's like the head of the household. And she's a nice enough lady. But the only thing that's a little bit odd is they take tests. And the tests, it's like, answer the questions in under 10 seconds. And you get to see some of the questions in the manga, and you can kind of see them on screen in the anime. And these are, like, not easy questions, let alone easy in 10 seconds. Like, one of them was, like, how many cubes in this object? And it's one of those things where, like, I could figure that out in, like, 30, 40 seconds, but not 10.
Yeah, but not 10 seconds. No. One of them is a big cube. It was, like, 6 by 7, and then it had a rectangular cube behind it, and it wanted you to get all of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, if it was just a cube, I could do that. But a cube and another cube? And I couldn't do that in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I've met people who could.
Yeah.
Because there are some people who have spatial awareness that are just that spectacular, but mine is not.
Yeah. So they're clearly doing these incredibly difficult tests, and they're doing them very, very quickly. And they're doing them on fairly high tech. It's like these weird tablet things. They've got headphones on.
Yeah, and they scan it.
And they've got like a pen that writes a barcode, basically. And somehow
I thought it was scanning the barcode.
No, I think it was writing. Like their answer is written in barcode form.
Oh, okay.
So there's something really weird. And it's like really out of place because everything else looks super low tech. And then it's like, oh, I've got a pen that writes in barcodes on a tablet. Like, what the heck? So, all right, weird enough. The 3 obvious kind of protagonist characters that you've been following all get perfect scores on the test.
And those are the only scores you find out what they scored.
Yeah, you just know that no one else did that well. And then you see that one of the younger girls is getting adopted today. And so, it's teary but happy, and, she's going away, blah, 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 blah.
But she's going to a family,
Yeah,
and she's going to write letters to them every day.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And she has a little bunny.
That Mom made for her.
Mm-hmm.
So
the girl's name is Connie, by the way.
So at night, Connie is going off to her new family, and she leaves her bunny behind. So the 3 protagonists discover this: Norman, Ray, and Emma. I was going to call her Edna. I work with an Edna. But they notice that the bunny's missing, and Norman and Emma run off to give the bunny back to Connie before she gets too far away.
By the way, there are rules in this orphanage. There is a gate. So you have the orphanage. It's a little house. Outside of that, there's a huge forest. They play tag in the forest a lot and hide and seek and whatnot. And then there's a gate. And it's a pretty low gate. Like, it goes up to the tallest one, their knees or so.
Yeah.
It's short. They are told not to go past this gate. Or, well, the fence. They're not supposed to go past the fence.
Yeah.
And they're not supposed to approach a gate. The gate is where, when the kids are getting adopted, they go to the gate to leave the area. Yeah. They leave the forest.
They've been told the gate can be dangerous.
Yes, it's not safe. And they are not to go near it.
So, of course, in traditional anime protag fashion,
they have the bunny and they go to the gate.
Yeah, which as they did go to as kids, like once.
Mm-hmm. They got near it and they said it felt eerie.
Yeah,
and so they left.
Yeah. So they go to the gate and they see a truck and they go, "Oh wow, a real truck! Like a real car."
Yep,
like
never seen one of those in real life.
Yeah, and then they're looking and they can't see Connie and they can't see anyone else, and they're like, "Well." I'll just leave Emma says, "Oh, I'll just leave the bunny in the back of the truck."
Because Connie was sure to find it there.
Mm-hmm. And then she drops the bunny, and Norman comes over to look, and they find Connie's body.
And there is a flower growing out of her chest.
Yeah, and she
is very, very dead.
Yeah, it's not gruesome, but she's clearly dead.
Yeah, she's clearly dead. Dead-eyed and everything. So
they immediately hide under the truck because they hear someone coming back. And while they're hiding under the truck, they see these, like, what they call demons. And they are really, really cool designs. But they're these monstrous creatures with 2 eyeballs that are vertically oriented, so, like, one above the other. And one's gigantic, the other one's still huge and creepy looking, but not nearly as big as the other. And they basically start talking about how, like, oh, can we eat this one? Talking about Connie. And, like, no, you can't, because she's high-value product. And, you're just...
We're not good enough for that.
Yeah, we're not good enough for that. And then the mom comes back.
And she talks with them.
Yeah, she's clearly in on it. So, ultimately, they run. The kids escape. But they
leave the bunny underneath the truck.
Yeah, and so the mom finds the bunny. So she knows somebody is out there and is seeing what's going on. And
but she doesn't know who.
Yeah. Now, they immediately realize, basically, that this means that they are meat on a farm being raised. And that is pretty much the first episode synopsis.
Yep.
And, like, what are we going to do? How do we handle this? What the heck? It handles this really, 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 really well. Because, like, there's a lot of animes that I've seen that have a cool premise, or any show that I've seen that has a really cool premise and can't keep it up. Like, I rambled about it on the Attack on Titan section, where, wow, that's a cool idea, and then, like, 6 episodes later, they've already ruined everything that I thought was cool about it. This kept it up. And although the anime doesn't go until completion, the manga is completed, so me and Liz are reading that now.
Yep. And no spoilers, but one of the chapters, it gave like an almost synopsis of the plot, and it was a prison escape, which is kind of what it is actually.
Yeah, no,
they
it's
don't
very
realize they're imprisoned for the most part, but they're trying to escape now.
It's very much a prison escape sort of vibe.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's really well done. It's handled very, very well. It's paced very well. The characters are intelligent, and the plot is intelligent. Like, there was I don't want to go into super spoilers, because I think it's worth seeing.
Yeah.
There was a very clever moment where something was happening, and they were kind of implying that one character might have something happen to them. And I went, well, since they're implying it's that character, because there were 2 characters that could maybe have something happen to them, obviously it's going to be the other one. Because that's usually what shows do, is they'll lean heavy on one, but not the other. But I did say
you throw your suspicion onto this one instead of the right one.
But I did say out loud that I feel like the show is clever enough so far that maybe it's neither, or something else is going on entirely. And it turned out, I didn't think of it, but that is exactly what's happening in that moment. And I was like, oh my god, it's so obvious once it happened. It makes sense. It's perfectly telegraphed. And yet, I never even thought of it. And it works really, really well. There were very few moments where I was sitting there like, I've already figured out the twist. Stop pretending this is a twist. Let's move on. You know, like, I hate those moments where characters are too dumb. Where it's like, gee, who could be the killer? I don't know, maybe the 8-foot-tall, crazy-eyed, knife-wielding maniac standing next to you? No, not them?
Mm-hmm. I don't like being pandered to.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they took their audience seriously.
Yeah.
And their characters, while very, very young, are still very intelligent.
Yes.
And they react well to things. I
And
mean,
there's
sometimes
a
they make me
lot.
mad, but for the most part, it was really good.
There's a lot of little details that are very important, and they don't over-focus them. If you catch it, you catch it, and it makes you appreciate the show that much more.
Yep.
And if you don't, oh well. They're not shoving it down your throat like, gee, did you notice that the killer walked with his left foot forward for 14 seconds? Like, yeah, cool, thanks, yes, he has a limp. Like,
yeah.
I
will say, and David will back me up on this, I called a lot of things on the show.
You did very well.
And it was still amazing. So even if you have like a predictive mind for these things, it's still really freaking good. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it. There are a lot of like, I mean, I guess twists isn't a bad way to put it.
Oh, absolutely,
like,
twists.
They pull them off, and it's very good. Like,
and on top of that,
I really want to continue the manga. I'm very excited to find out where it goes.
the second season of the anime is coming out next year.
I assume it probably won't finish it, though.
Which Liz was going to kill me for.
There's like 170 chapters.
I guess they did like 50 chapters in the anime.
Which, that means they would have to do double for the next season, and I don't know how realistic that is.
Could be twice as many episodes.
If there is, that would be awesome.
But either way, Liz almost killed me for that because I thought it was done.
Yeah. When we started, he was like, oh yeah, there are like 2 seasons out. And I was like, okay, cool. We finished the first season. I was like, alright, put on the next season. He was like, well, maybe it's only in Japanese. So I Googled it and I was like, yeah, no, it's not out yet.
She's so mean.
You're just a liar.
I'm not lying.
You lied!
I'm stupid. There's a difference. I didn't know I was wrong.
You're such a dork.
It's only lying if I'm aware that it's BS. Otherwise, I'm just an
We've already
idiot.
established most of the things you say are lies.
I'm just an idiot. So,
No. It's so good, you guys. I think you should give it a shot. I wouldn't watch it with kids, but
yeah, it's not for kids, but it is not like, again, There's some disturbing concepts, but there's very little violence that is actually shown.
Yeah.
And
you don't
again,
see Connie die. You just see her dead body.
And you do later see someone die, at least at one point. And even then, it is not... They don't get ripped to shreds. They don't get, They don't bleed horribly. Yeah. Liz is like, wait, who? Oh.
Yeah, I was like, who is it?
Yeah. It is...
So I was going through all the characters.
You watch them die. It serves a plot purpose watching them die. It is scary from a, if you were a kid perspective.
I think if I'd watched this in middle school, I would have enjoyed it and it wouldn't have scared me. But younger than that, it probably would have scared me.
For a mature middle schooler, yeah, I think this is fine.
Yeah.
Depends on what you've been exposed to and whatnot. But there's no gratuitous sex, there's no violence, there's none of that. So, it's really good. It's easy to recommend because it's not one of those ones where well, if you don't mind, but, so, yeah.
I feel like if you can get through the first episode, you're set. Because that was... Connie's death was the worst thing. It's a little girl's death.
It depends on your tastes.
True, I guess. I don't know,
the other death is... One of the other deaths, anyways, at least. I'm not going to be super specific.
It's more graphic, but...
Yeah, you actually see it occur.
Yeah.
But even then, it's not oh my god, they ripped them apart or something. Or
yeah, the way the demons kill is a flower pops out of your chest, or is plunged into your chest, or whatever.
Something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah. Minimal blood, though, I will say. Minimal.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good. Would rec.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, because neither of us have made it through the manga further than where the anime is, do we want to speculate on anything from episode 1? Because, I was already making speculations. I don't know if they're correct or not, I don't know if there's spoilers.
Why don't we finish... Well, how about next video? Well, we might have finished it by then.
We don't have to. We can just move on. That's why I asked.
I think we should move on.
Okay,
just
what's next?
Our speculations could be right, and even still will be based on knowledge that we have now that maybe if someone watches...
I'm speculating about the demons from episode 1, but whatever.
Yeah.
Alright, what's next? You are the computer man.
I am the computer man? Mm-hmm. Not the rocket man.
He's a computer wizard. Has to be a twist. Computer wizard has such a supple wrist. Please tell me you know that song.
She makes up songs and then pretends...
Pinball Wizard. Elton John.
She pretends they're real.
He's a pinball wizard. You don't know that song.
It's because you made it up.
It's Elton John. I will kill you. Oh, you don't know music. You're killing me.
I know music. I gave you music last night. I was listening to music.
You gave me one instrumental song.
I gave you 3 freaking bands.
Sure, honey.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't listen to any of them, did you?
I pulled up the one and I was like, save! No, we need to go back to this. On topic. Things we can discuss.
Liz finally saw John Wick 3. We can go over that.
Okay, so the first John Wick was amazing. If you can't handle dog death, do not watch this movie. Because the puppy dies. Yes, but the doggy dies.
Yes.
But he revenge plot. It is... I would say this is the best revenge movie. I love it.
No.
Really?
Old boy.
Oh. That's... these are completely different. See, mine is all about just kill everybody involved and end their lives. Yours is specifically go out and ruin the person's life. Torture them for 15 years and don't let them know why.
And that's not actually the revenge. Yeah.
It plays a part in it. Locking someone up for 15 years, yeah, I would say I'm being tortured.
Yeah, but that's not the revenge.
It's part of the revenge? Are you kidding me?
No, that's why Old Boy's great, because that's not part of the revenge. Yeah. That's just part of the setup.
Which is necessary for the revenge. Had he not been locked up, the revenge would not have worked. So no, it plays a part, you're wrong. If you guys haven't seen Old Boy... Oh gosh, are we gonna discuss Old Boy now?
No. I think we already have, first of all, in the past.
Oh, have we?
I don't know, if you haven't seen Old Boy...
We talked about anime. We weren't talking about movies until recently.
Well, I'll put Old Boy on the list. So I will quickly, we're not spoiling Old Boy either. Not for anyone who doesn't have a strong constitution for disturbing concepts. Well, let's finish John Wick and we'll go to Old Boy.
Okay.
So, very quickly, my first take on John Wick when I watched it was that this is the first action movie in forever that understands what's good about an action movie. It is more akin to like an old Jackie Chan movie in some ways, or an old martial arts movie in that they zoom out, they show the action. You can see what's happening. They're not 3 inches from somebody's crotch shaking the camera and pretending that it's action.
And doing a cut every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You see the action. You see him moving around, pulling out his guns. Like, it's amazing.
The reloads, the things. So, like, it's a martial arts movies with guns. It's freaking, what's it called? Equilibrium, was it? What had guns?
That was a good movie, but
yeah.
I don't know if that could be considered
gun martial arts.
Gun martial arts.
Yeah, I mean, that's
was it Christian Bale? Was he the one in Equilibrium?
I think, yes.
I liked Equilibrium. Anyways, continue with
The Wick.
John Wick.
So the first movie was good, and I was shocked because I'd heard it was good, but I have generally given up on when people think, like, people thought Transformers was good, and oh boy. The first one was okay. But no, John Wick was... It was just nice to see something that, like, kind of captured what I liked about action movies as a kid. Like, yes, this is cool. This is well shot. This is neat. I mean, obviously it's violent, but it's not...
It's very violent.
It's not trying to pretend to be something it's not.
Yeah.
It's not Shakespeare. It's completely over the top. It takes itself way too seriously, but it knows that. And so it was fun. And it didn't, I think one of my favorite things was it didn't try to shoehorn in a romance. I say that a lot about movies, because I feel like it's an easy, canary in the mine shaft sort of thing where, this is a movie that has no business having a romance scene. Why are these two characters starting to flirt? Gee, that's going to ruin everything if they force that down our throat. And they don't. And it was nice. John Wick 2... Yeah.
He got a new doggy!
Yeah, he got a dog.
At the end of the movie.
At the beginning.
Was it at the beginning?
Yes, because that dog should have died too, and it didn't because it's freaking magical, because they blew it up with a grenade, and yet it's somehow bulletproof.
I accept these terms.
Yeah, they were like, wow, we got lucky, people are still seeing this movie, I guess we don't kill any more animals. But let's have a scene where we make everyone think we did. In all movies, now that I think about it. But, yeah, 2 and 3, I can group them together. They're fun movies. They're well done. They've got some really good action scenes. Again, the plot is absolutely ridiculous. And it takes itself way too seriously. Remember, the main way to be an actor in the John Wick universe is at some point you have to stop, look dramatically off into the distance, and say a 3 to 5 word Latin phrase, as if it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
You'll notice it now, I promise.
Okay.
But that's just, how they do it, and it's done well. I love math with Lawrence Fishburne.
I love Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes. And
he's a great actor.
It's nice. It's nice to see something that's creative, well shot, well acted, to see stuntmen and choreography teams actually getting to show off their skills.
Oh, yeah.
And really show it off, to know that, like you can tell that Keanu has drilled this stuff and practiced and is putting in effort too, because, not all of that is stunt actors. Everyone who's involved does well, and they don't... I know that there have been concerns in, both movies, both sequels, they're bringing in such and such actor. They don't know how to act or whatever. The deaf girl in the second one, I know apparently had controversy.
I barely remember the second one. I don't know why.
But I don't care, because it was they don't need to be able to be Shakespeare. They need maybe 20-some lines in the entire movie, and then they need to be able to land their stunts, and they can. So A+, thank you.
I will say one of the things I really liked about the third one was they actually brought in 2 dogs who were awesome at what they did.
Yeah.
They had stunts.
Well, I'm sure it was more... I wouldn't be surprised if it was more than actually 2 dogs.
Oh, well, yes. But I mean, for the movie, it was supposed to just be 2 dogs.
Yeah.
They were amazing. They worked really well with Halle Berry. There was one scene where... you know, she was on like level 1 of this building, and there was a guy on level 2 with a gun, and she leans over, she whistles for her dog, the dog jumps on her back and jumps up the wall to get to the guy to take him out. And they did a lot of cool things like that. I loved it. I thought it was super awesome. And, you know, dogs all the way! Puppies! Yay!
Yes, dear.
I will say, I did feel like they focused specifically on Halle Berry for longer than was necessary. And David said one of the people he went to the movie theater with and myself were the only ones that were annoyed about it. So, like, that's just us being brats. But I wanted to get back to John Wick. I didn't care about the girl. I didn't care about anybody else. I cared about John Wick. And the dogs. I did like the dogs. So, do we want to talk about the ending of the third one?
The ending of the third one.
Yeah.
What's special?
You know,
ending?
like how John Wick is freaking dead. I don't care what the ending says. He's
fine.
dead. No.
He walked it off.
All right. If you... Okay, so I told David what happened, and he was like, oh, that's not what happened. It was this. I freeze-framed it, and I went through it shot for shot, and I was like, he lands on his... What? It's been a couple weeks now. He lands on his chest... Then he... No. He lands on his back. Then he flips, and he hits his chest on the railing? Or do I have it backwards?
He goes over
Because he hits
the slidey thing.
Yeah.
And then he hits his shoulders.
The back?
His
He
shoulders.
hits his back
His shoulders.
on this railing, and it jerks his head back. And then he hits something else, and then he hits the floor?
Yeah. His face on something else, then he hits something else, and then he hits
And then he hits the floor. And they try and claim that he's not dead. And, honey, he's dead. I love these movies, and I'm dying to see the fourth one, but John Wick is dead. The Baba Yaga is a ghost, and he is going to avenge everything. But he's dead.
He hurt his shoulders. Oh, Sicario is another one that I would maybe put up there as a revenge story. The third one that hasn't come out. But if it does, it'll be one heck of a
That
revenge story.
makes no sense.
Have you seen those movies?
I've seen the first one. That was
see
the
the second
drug one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it. I don't remember it very well, but I liked it.
See Sicario.
Okay. So, he's dead.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
He's fine.
He's so dead.
He walked it
But
off.
no, there were actually a lot of comedic scenes in the third one, and I really liked it. Like
And
there
in the
was.
second.
I don't remember the second one. I barely remember it. It's been like a year and a half.
And that's why I was reminding you that, yes, there were comedic scenes in
Well,
the second one, too.
I was specifically going to talk about the comedic scenes in the third one because I remember that.
Okay.
There is a Japanese guy that they
The Iron Chef. He's
yes,
the chairman.
him. He's totally like guns a-blazing, trying to kill. Well, he doesn't really use a gun; he uses a sword, but it's figure
Katana
speech.
the slasher?
He's going after John Wick, and at one point he is forced to like just be cordial, and he's like, "I'm so excited to meet you, John Wick. I'm such a fan." Like, and it was so cute to watch him fanboy. Because prior to this, all you'd seen him is being a super badass. It was awesome. And then two of his underlings are also really excited to meet him, and they're really excited to fight him. It was so adorable. I loved it. It was so wholesome. I was really upset when they killed the Iron Chef guy, because I wanted to see them together more. They would have been adorable.
She wants their, buddy show.
Oh my gosh, I would watch a buddy cop movie with the two of them, yes. They obviously would not be cops,
Get
because
on
they're assassins, but I would watch it.
Warner Brothers or whoever owns John Wick. Who owns John Wick?
They were so good. Oh my gosh.
Yes, for those at home at least, because Liz doesn't know who this is, the actor who plays the Japanese assassin is the same actor in the American Iron Chef who plays the chairman. So for those of you who have ever watched Iron Chef, obviously everyone on Iron Chef is a real chef, except, and this is true in both the Japanese and the American one, the chairman, who is literally the only paid actor who has basically no purpose to be there. They have no culinary skill, they're not a judge, maybe he makes a burrito for himself, I don't know, but of everyone else being, these top-of-the-world people. And this is the guy who is the chairman in the American version, and he also is an incredible stunt actor. I've seen him in another show called Wu Assassin, which I would never recommend to any living human. I watched it with a friend, air quotes, of mine, who made me watch it, and it was so bad that I didn't realize after an hour and 15 minutes of this that it was the first episode of a series and that this abomination was actually expected to be watched for more than one episode. But he was great at it.
His name is Mark Dacascos, by the way, if anyone wants to look him up.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's John Wick in a nutshell.
He's dead.
He's fine.
No, he's dead. I love him, but he's dead. I don't want him to be dead, but he is.
He's fine.
He's dead.
Here, let's get
All
high
right,
concept.
Old Boy.
Or we could do that.
You said you were going to do Old Boy after
Okay,
John
so
Wick.
Old Boy. I'm not going
3 times. Don't do it in a mirror.
I'm not going to spoil Old Boy, and I'm going to preface it with it is one of the more disturbing things I've ever watched. And not in maybe any aggressive way, like, oh, look at all this blood, but just know...
There's one scene.
Yeah, but that's not what makes this movie
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. But if people go into this thinking there's no gore,
Let's start with the
wrong.
first thing. Don't watch the American version. Watch the original Korean version. It actually matters. The Korean version's better. The American version's, I hear, okay, but why would you do that? The Korean version's amazing. I believe it's made by the same guy who made Parasite, which won an Oscar recently for Best Picture. I can't confirm that off the top of my head, but you should watch it. The reason... The movie is very good, and I want to preface it with this sort of silly story that everyone goes, oh God, when they heard how I watched it, because I found out about it because it has a very good fight scene in it. That's well choreographed, well done, and very
He's
realistic.
using the word well, and it's wrong. It should be great. That is a great scene.
Yes,
well does not describe it well
Yes.
enough.
Yes, dear. Sorry.
Continue.
So, I had someone, I saw a small clip of that fight scene, and I was home alone, and it was a boring summer or something. I was like, yeah, I want to watch I haven't watched a good martial arts movie in a while. I'll put on Old Boy. Old Boy is not a martial arts movie.
Nope.
It has some martial arts scenes, kind of, sort of, maybe, and it's got some comedy in it, but it is not that kind of movie. All you need to know is it's about revenge. And it starts with a character in a police station, obviously drunk out of his mind, being picked up for being drunk and disorderly or something, like a minor thing. And then he's let go, going home, and he gets kidnapped. And he gets put in a hotel room, like a grungy, dirty, dusty motel room for 15 years.
Yep.
15 years. He's locked in this hotel room. And that is the setup. And I really feel that saying anything else I can't talk about without ruining the movie. And it is, I believe, one of the best movies ever made if you can handle the subject matter. So if you are the kind of person who has either been like, yep, I saw that to all the junk we've talked about, or that sounds like me, Old Boy absolutely needs to be watched. It is a very, very good movie. And I think that's all I want to say about it, because I treasure this movie as something unique and special because of how well it executes what it's going for.
I'm not seeing anything that relates Parasite with Old Boy, so I think
wrong?
you're just racist.
No, someone... Hold on. Let me figure out who did Old Boy. It's someone...
Director is Chan-wook Park. He's the one who did the Revenge trilogy.
Yeah, that's...
Is that not the guy you were talking about?
It must not be. I'm confusing it with something else then.
I think you are.
I know,
Or
of
you're
course,
just
the book-
racist.
Love you too, dear.
I have to pick on you. Come on.
Always does.
Yeah, you pick on me too,
What did he
butthead.
also do? It's one of them I've seen one of their other movies. Oh, sorry, that's what it was. He did Snowpiercer. Right.
Ah.
I was like, I know he did another movie that became kind of famous, and Snowpiercer. And he was a producer. He wasn't a director or a writer for it. That's where I get this all confused. But yeah. Dude's good.
Ultimate revenge movie.
Yeah, and I will not say more. It is a good movie.
You will probably most likely not see it coming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had it spoiled. I knew what the twist was prior to watching it, and it was still worth watching.
Yeah.
But I think it probably is a better experience to not have it spoiled. So if you have enjoyed any of the things we have discussed prior to this, any of the screwed up things, You need to watch this movie. Don't research it at all. Just look it up.
They
What?
both worked on Snowpiercer. That's the connection. The guy who did Parasite was the director and writer for Snowpiercer, and the guy who did Oldboy was the producer. I'm not racist.
Aren't you, though? You thought they were the same person. Brought it back because you were trying to cheat.
I see. I love you too, dude.
Love you more.
Do you, though?
Okay, seriously, if you can't pick on your loved ones, do you really love them? Do they really love you?
Have you tried?
I did pick on you, didn't I? Just now. I
meant
called you
not
racist.
picking on me. No, you
Is
haven't.
it fun, though?
Checkmate.
You pick on me way more than I pick on you.
I don't know what you're talking about. You have any evidence?
All right, well,
So that's
we're not
Oldboy.
talking anymore about Oldboy, so what's next?
We can get more high concept and go. Let's see. You want to do time travel?
Sure.
So you want to talk about Donnie Darko? Because, well, you want me to give my quick impression of Donnie Darko, and then you can talk about the
Go
rest of it?
for it.
I watched a lot of, like, time travel-y, weird movie things at one point, and so Donnie Darko was after that. And I remember seeing Donnie Darko and being like, that was okay. And my first thought was something that a girl I knew in high school said about the Da Vinci Code. Where her take was, this book isn't good, it's not bad, but it's popular. So people who normally don't read books like this are reading it, and they think it's amazing. And I don't know if I totally agree with her on that, but that was exactly how I felt about Donnie Darko. Where like, oh, this is for people who don't normally watch the kind of stuff I watch, and that's why they like it. And that's probably completely elitist and unfair and snobbish of me, but that was my first thought as a pain-in-the-ass teenager. So,
Do you even remember the movie?
I mean, I can't explain it without spoiling it. Obnoxious emo kid has jet engine fall on house, decides to get high concept on everybody, and is eventually, yes.
Okay, so Jake Gyllenhaal, who I
Was
had
that Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yes!
You haven't seen Nightcrawler.
No, I haven't.
I have to
You
ruin
haven't
that.
seen Prince of Persia, and I freaking love that movie. I know most people disagree with me, but I had the biggest crush on Jake Gyllenhaal for a while. I bought a Prince of Persia poster. Like, I love that movie. But I saw Donnie Darko prior to Prince of Persia. And, alright, Jake and Maggie Gyllenhaal can act. They are siblings in real life, and they play siblings in the movie. And I had to look it up because I'm terrible with names, and I feel kind of stupid. Maggie Gyllenhaal plays Elizabeth Darko. Don't know how I forgot that. I'm a dum-dum. Anyways, so yes. Donnie wakes up, and he's, like, leaving the house or whatever, and a jet engine flies into his room. Had he still been in bed, he would definitely be dead.
Yes.
And he goes about, he goes to school, he meets a new girl, they kind of start to date. It's really cute, it's adorable. And he starts talking with one of his teachers in high school about time travel and God's plan, and if you could see where you're supposed to go, you know, are you able to change it? Can you change the future? And the teacher's kind of like, well, if you can see where you're supposed to go and then you make another choice, you've created an alternate reality. So it's not, you know, it gets really convoluted. You end up meeting Patrick Swayze's character. I love Patrick Swayze, by the way.
Who's in it?
I will kill you. We have this conversation every single time. He turns out he is a public
True
speaker.
love, ladies and
He is a
gentlemen.
public speaker who you later find out is a pedophile. And I think he ends up burning alive, or is his place burns and that's how they find the pornography? I don't know. It's you don't see anything explicit. You just hear
Reminds me
about
of
it.
The Requiem for a Dream guy.
No, you do not disrespect Patrick Swayze like that.
What?
Do not disrespect Patrick Swayze.
Why don't you
I
love?
love him.
Yes, dear.
I love you more.
Sandow.
But anyways, he ends up meeting a bunny called Frank, And Frank speaks very creepy, very...
I feel like it would be useful clarification to mention that this bunny, air quotes, is a 6 foot tall.
Oh, he's a terrifying
guy
looking bunny.
in a bunny suit that looks horrific.
Oh,
not
it's terrifying.
a
Yeah.
little fluffy bunny.
Oh. I mean, I knew what Frank looked like prior to seeing the movie, so I hadn't even considered that. My bad.
Yeah.
It's a good
Just,
thing you're here, honey. That's what you're here for. And like Donnie, he starts researching time travel and all these things, and eventually he realizes that the world is going to end in a certain number of days, hours, minutes, seconds. And
that's right.
yes. And in order to thwart the world ending, he needs to be killed by the jet engine.
The timeline is all messed up.
Yes, it is. And so basically it ends with the jet engine flying into his bedroom. He's there. His family is crushed. The new girl moves into town and finds out, oh, Donnie Darko was killed in his bedroom. So they never even met in the final timeline. And I recently was actually watching YouTube myself. And...
You see that?
What? Yeah? I don't know what you're saying.
Never mind.
Okay.
It wasn't funny.
And there was a girl who was discussing a different cut of the movie. I want to say it was one of the director's cuts. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it. But, what?
No, go ahead. I'm trying to remember what I know about this. I've heard of this.
There are scenes that were cut from the movie that are supposed to be from a book. And it's... You eventually learn that it's an old lady wrote this book, and it's about time travel. And
she's mentioned during the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
She almost gets hit by their car.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, in the cut I've seen, that was almost the extent of it. Like, they find out she's written this book about time travel, and I think they speculate that she's been in the same position Donnie is in, where he survived something he wasn't supposed to, and he now exists in an alternate reality from the one he's supposed to be in. But I guess the director's cut actually makes it a lot clearer, where if you go to an alternate dimension, you're the one who has to bring it back to the real one, and generally that ends in your death. So what's supposed to happen is Donnie is supposed to get this jet engine out of the sky in order to make it fall in his reality on his real self, in order to stop the world from ending. Because he is not supposed to be in this alternate reality. He is an outlier. He is the reason this reality is going to end. So the world's going to end because he's not supposed to be there. It's screwing things up. And by him taking that jet engine into his reality, it's supposed to save both of them. I wasn't really clear on it because, like I said, I have not seen this version. I've only seen someone discuss it. I personally am interested in seeing it because if it was supposed to be in there, I want to see it.
Okay, so I vaguely recall this because I did what a lot of people did, which is like, okay, what the heck just happened? Let's go wiki this. But if I recall correctly, it has very mixed vibes, and that, like, arguably, I have heard people who like Donnie Darko and don't like the director's cut because they don't think it's as good of a movie or something. Mm. Now, I don't know if that's because they have a different taste or if just because it doesn't handle it well, but I can think of one or two people I've spoken to who now I recall hearing about that where they're like, yeah, it was disappointing.
See, whether I'd be disappointed or not, I'd still like to see it.
And they didn't like the sequel either.
There's a sequel?
I'm 90% certain. Yeah.
What? I did not know this. Is it still Jake Gyllenhaal? I mean, it can't be. He's dead in the first one.
It got better.
It got better?
Yeah, S. Darko.
S. Darko?
Yeah.
Oh, S. Okay, I was thinking like ES.
Tale.
What?
It
is... I've never heard of this.
A 2009.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was in high school when
sequel
this
to
came
the cult film Donnie Darko, yep.
What? Oh, his little sister Samantha. Interesting.
Yeah, I have never heard anything good about it, but you enjoy that, dear.
I've never even heard of it. Interesting. Huh. Okay, well, if you guys have seen it, you'll have to tell me if it's worth it or not. Okay.
Okay. So yes, that is Donnie Darko, I think. Anything else?
I mean, I like it. I think it's a really interesting movie. It may not be the best take on time travel, but I found it to be very interesting.
So
I've watched it a couple times.
Continue on the time travel theme. We'll go to 2 more. We'll do a 2 for Time Crimes and Predestination, because I think they both show my biggest problem with time travel. Time Crimes is a Spanish, I believe from Spain.
I believe it's Spanish? I believe so.
Movie about time travel, and Predestination is an American movie about time travel. And they both pull sort of similar cliches, which is that my problem with time travel movies often isn't that, oh, well, time travel's impossible, or blah, 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 blah. I love Looper, for the record. It's one of my favorite movies.
Looper's so interesting.
But it doesn't, or rather, they get so caught up in the gimmick that they kind of telegraph.
Spain's correct, by the way.
They kind of telegraph everything they're doing. So, for example, in Time Crimes, there's a character who's working at some sort of science laboratory thing, and just cutting to the chase, he's essentially dealing with this masked man. He's got like a bandaged face that's chasing him or interacting with him or making his life difficult or possibly trying to kill him. And the moment I saw the mask, I knew the twist. And likewise, in Predestination, it's very early on established that time travel is a thing, and the character is fighting this unclear figure, like you never get a clear shot of their face or what they look like. And then I immediately knew what the twist was, because every time a time travel movie won't show you what the heck somebody looks like, it's because it's that character at a different point in time. Wow.
Predestination took that even further.
Yeah, I am already aware of the book that kind of maybe inspired Predestination.
I'd had that movie spoiled prior to watching it, and David was like, "Is this based off a book?" And I was like, "No, it is." And it was the exact book he was talking about. So yeah, he called every single plot point.
Yay.
Even if you hadn't read the book, I think you would have called it anyways.
Well, once you've seen one time... Well, and this is my problem with time travel movies, where, once you've seen these sorts of things, it's very, very hard. Like, if it's your first time travel movie, it's amazing. If it's the 5th one, well, okay, I know the gimmick, I know the trick. And
See, I disagree. I called a lot of the things, and I still enjoy them. The time travel doesn't bother me the way it bothers you.
Well, my point is that it's not that the time travel necessarily bothers me.
Well, yes, but how they try and hide who it is.
Not even that. No. My point is that once you rip out all that, because that obviously will not be causing any tension for me, because that's not a mystery to me, it's often a subpar movie in every other respect, because they're relying heavily on the time travel gimmick to be the thing that keeps you interested. So if you're it's like if you go to a romance movie and you're not into romance movies, well, why are you here? You're not going to enjoy this. It's going to be, an hour and a half of romantic comedy, and if you don't like romances and you don't like comedies, you're not going to enjoy that movie. Well, in this case,
time travel movie is about time travel. I don't understand.
But that's my point, is that outside of the time travel twist, where, the character is that other character, the movie itself doesn't hold up. Like, if you watch... Well, John Wick is not a very good drama. It's a great action movie. But if you don't like action movies, that's a terrible movie to watch, because when you rip out all the action scenes, the rest of it's kind of like boilerplate. It's there just to move the plot along. And that's my take on both Predestination and Time Crimes, is the rest of the movie is literally just there to move the plot along enough to get to the wacky craziness of time travel. And so, since I already know what the crazy time travel is going to be, that's not interesting to me. And so I don't really care about the characters or the plot, because those aren't super well developed, because the whole point is, wow, wacky time travel. And that's my gripe with a lot of time travel movies is, well, if you're going all in on this, and I figure it out, well, now I've kind of just yep, that's that scene, yep, that's that scene, yep, you're telegraphing that, so we're going to go, oh, wow, that was him later. I don't know. This is me ranting about time travel on a cross-stitch channel. I have made life choices.
Yes. Don't judge me.
So, that said, I don't think there's much else to say about those two movies. I think they're worth watching. If you want, if you're at all interested in these kinds of movies or anything, they're worth watching. I personally don't find them to be very great. They weren't bad.
I knew everything that happened in Predestination, and I still enjoyed it, so... Well, yes, you did not. We have established that.
Yeah.
You ranted about it for like 10 minutes. I don't know if it was actually that long. I don't think it was. But I still enjoyed it. If you like time travel movies, because David only likes some of them. If you like all of them, watch them. You will enjoy them. But the reason he dislikes all of these is for this next movie we're about to discuss.
Well, no, actually, I was going to, before we jump to that one, you want to take a quick segue through why I like Looper?
Sure, we can go over Looper. It's been a while since I've watched it, though.
Yeah, I really, really like Looper.
You should write that down.
Yeah, I can sum it up in actually almost one
Bruce
scene.
Willis, right? Bruce Willis and, the kid from so many things. 500 Days of Summer, The Knives in My Eyes.
Yeah,
Him.
Good job, dear. While you look that up, Looper is good because
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
Aha,
Time travel is just
I looked it up.
It's part of the setting. It's not the main gimmick of the plot. It's really just to set up the plot. It's not there to do too much. What I really love about that movie is the simple scene where they start trying to explain the time travel. Now, there's a lot of people who will complain, like, oh, this doesn't make sense if they have time travel, or that doesn't make sense if they have time travel. But the whole point of the movie is we don't know how time travel works. Obviously, in the real world, as of right now, it does not exist. There's many solid-looking theories that say it can never exist, so it's just not a thing. And therefore, arguing about how time travel works, to me, is like arguing about, dragon biology. Like, there is no reference book on this. Who cares?
I mean, there are books, but...
Love you too, dear. Why are we talking about it? And so there's a scene where they're sitting in the diner, Bruce Willis and his literal younger self, Gordon-Levitt, and,
Wow, spoilers, honey.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. And he says, what's... how does time travel work? And he's like, we're not going into it. We'll be here all day. We'll be diagramming with straws. And, that's how you handle time travel, in my opinion, if you're going to try
not handling it.
Well, basically by saying, it doesn't make any sense. This character doesn't know how it works. If you need to know something, we'll tell you. There's a scene later in the movie where a person's younger self is being tortured, and his older self is seeing the effects in real time. So all of a sudden he doesn't have an arm or a leg or something like that. Does that make any sense according to paradox theory and all that? No. Is it perfect for the movie? Yes. Does it work? Sure. The movie says it works, so it must work. End of discussion. And it made for a really cool and disturbing scene. And it worked really well. They played with all the ideas well, they showed it off all well, they set up a cool universe, and they had a terrifying child actor. So, I wasn't going to go all the way into Looper unless you have something to add.
It's been so long. I remember really liking it.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
So then, yes, the other
So
movie.
now we're segueing into the time travel movie that makes David judge all other time travel movies.
Not exactly.
Yes, it does. Do not lie to me.
No,
do not lie to my audience.
That's not
Don't make yourself a liar.
Not how this
you
works.
already lie here enough. You can stop lying now.
I am sitting, first of all, and second
You're
of
lying.
all. So Primer. Primer is an interesting movie. If you're at all into this sort of thing, you've probably heard of Primer, and if you're not, you've never heard of Primer, because Primer is not the kind of movie you watch
as your first time travel movie?
Well, just you don't just watch it just because, or if you happen to catch it, if it's on, you're gonna be like, what happened? It's a movie that was low budget and made one of the main actors is the director writer sort of thing, and it was made sort of as an idea of let's really mess with the actual consequences of time travel. If it actually did exist, how bad could this get? And he uses a plausible theory for time travel. And he kind of takes it to its logical extent in a heavy scientific way. And it makes the movie very difficult to follow, very, very trippy, very, very confusing, and it does not help that the characters themselves have sort of weird motivations, not in oh, this person's going to become strange or anything, just wow, this is really what you're doing with reality warping power here. I don't know, do you want to explain your view of it? Because I can ramble on the bigger stuff.
I mean, I don't know how to discuss it without getting into potential spoilers.
Oh yeah, we're going to spoil the heck out of this movie. The short version is, if you want to see this movie, it is a very strange, very weird movie that generally ends with everyone going immediately online and looking for charts of what just happened.
Because
and
there
then
are
spending
charts.
45 minutes reading those charts because they're hard to follow.
Okay, I followed it way better than 45 minutes.
Yes, you got one... Okay, I'm, like, salty about this because when I watched the movie, the chart that she got to read wasn't out there. I got this, like, ugly-looking thing that, like, someone made in MS Paint that wasn't even right and was, like, still being argued about, and so she gets this nice, beautifully formatted chart.
Screw you. I already followed it pretty well. Rude.
Rude.
So rude.
So rude.
So, I don't remember their names. I called them the blonde and the brunette the whole movie.
That's excellent. That's appropriate. Yeah.
It gets very... the lingo is very difficult to understand, but you're not really supposed to understand it. Like, are they engineers?
They're all... It's like the blonde and the brunette have a couple of other friends. And
well, they're irrelevant. Basically.
They are almost immediately.
Like,
and they're living... They're as a side gig, they're kind of all working together on projects. So the idea is they all work for some sort of engineering firm or programming firm. Like, they each have tech skills, and they hate their day job. So what they do is, on their weekends and their free time, one friend picks an idea, and they work on that idea, and then they try to pitch it to a venture capitalist to, make it rich and get out of this horrible day job thing. And so the basic setup is that while they're working on one idea, which you never really know what any of these ideas are, you hear about superconductors and things like that, the other two have their own idea, the blonde and the brunette have their own idea that they want to work on, and they kind of cut the other two out and work on it themselves, and that's when they make time travel. It's a box, and
you lay in it.
Yeah, well, yeah, they realize the problem with the time travel is that the thing that's in the box can't exit the box, so it comes back at the same time it started when you put it in the box, so you don't see it travel through time. And yet they find out that the thing that was put in the box was in the box for way longer than it possibly could have been. So that's where they figure out that, well, what if something could exit the box? So they build one the size of a person, and they go in with some oxygen masks and whatnot and put themselves to sleep, and then exit at a later point in time, which, from the reference of the box, is in the past. So that's where this gets trippy, because now you've got this possible time travel, and then it just gets more and more and more complicated as things get to be more and more problematic. So naturally, their first thought is, let's go be rich, we're going to play the stock market. And what they want to do is avoid running into themselves, because the idea is when you exit the box, you're back 5 hours in time,
yeah.
But there's still the you... Sorry, let me set this up clearly, because the movie's so confusing. The way you use these is, you set up the box, you turn it on at, say, 5 o'clock in the morning. You go to work, you go through your day.
You have a regular day.
You have a regular day. Then you go to the box at 5 o'clock at night, and you go inside of it for 12 hours. Now, when you exit the box, it'll be 5 in the morning again. You're still out there, going to work, but now you're also back at the building where you turned on the box. So there are two of you. So in fact, they never actually come out of the box at the time they turn it on. They come out of the box 30 minutes later, I think, so that you have already left the building by that point. But they don't want to run into themselves and cause causality issues or whatever, paradox or other problems. So the idea is that they spend their whole day at a hotel, and then they come back, and then they go into the box, and then they do the whole day the right way or the way they want to, trading or whatever, doing their job. And it kind of cascades from there as it gets more and more and more complicated, because you start to realize, as they show, that there's way more that you can do. Like, you can go back even farther. You can only go back from when a box is turned on. You could technically take a box through another box. And oh boy, all the fun that starts to bring with it. So, yeah, it's...
One of the things I thought was really interesting was the longer you have been traveling through time, the more often you do it, the worse their handwriting gets. They have a very hard time writing things down. At one point, one of the guys, what is he, number 2? The brunette number 2? He's gone through several times. He has such a difficult time writing. It takes him, like, forever to just write one line. And they also, did they both suffer from nosebleeds, or was it just the brunette?
Ear bleeding.
Oh, ear bleeding. Sorry, I said nosebleed.
I think it's just one, but we see other symptoms for the other at some point, I believe.
So, like, there's obviously detriments to doing this. And later on, you said spoilers, you find out this professor at some point, or was it the professor?
It was the father of one of their wives, father-in-law.
Yeah, and they were going to try and, like, get into...
He's a venture capitalist guy, so he was someone they wanted to pitch an idea to.
Yeah. You find out that somehow he has learned about these boxes and he has used them. You don't know how much, you don't know what for, you never
don't even know
out.
which box.
Yeah, you never find out. Does it end up killing him?
No,
Like,
last we see of him, he's comatose.
He's in a coma, that's what it is. So he's basically a vegetable. It's basically killed him. So, that's interesting, you know, like,
yeah.
Is it worth it to go back in time and become a bajillionaire if it's gonna kill you eventually?
I guess pointing out spoilers in what you just said. So, like, obviously the logical thing to do, to me, is, okay, I've made my time travel box. I've realized the potential of this. I need to put my money into a stock account, and I need to wait for one day with a huge swing and bet the farm on that so it looks like I'm the lucky idiot who won the lottery. Mm-hmm. And I do it once, and now I'm rich, and now I don't have to worry about exposing myself to any more time travel cancer because I did it once. And of course, that might be a thought that you guys have, but it is made very obvious in the movie, even if it's weird, that these guys are kind of petty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of them, he wants to go back in time so he can punch his boss, only to go back in time again to erase that, to stop himself from punching him. Just because he wants the satisfaction of punching his boss in the face one time.
And then there's the other side of this where a major plot point of the movie, which, like, I was like, okay, this is a tiny plot point, let's get on, and it's actually just kind of the main plot point, is this party that never occurs on screen. Well, I think you get like a few seconds of it. You get like a few seconds of it. Yeah. But like they start talking about this party where something almost could have happened, where like a character's girlfriend's ex-boyfriend shows up with a gun. And no one gets hurt.
Ever.
And he goes away. And yet they relive this day, I don't know how many times, just to try and make it so...
Because the brunette wants to be a hero, right?
Yeah, so he can be a hero in that moment. It's about very petty and minor things. Like, again, this is back to where, like, you have the power to travel through time, and what you want to do is engineer a party so you can come out as the hero. I don't know. Mega yachts make people like you.
He already solved it the first time around or something.
Well,
like,
yeah, but he wasn't...
early on. Yeah. Because he stopped the guy. But then he wants to be a really, really big hero, so they go... The ex-boyfriend goes to the party, and he has left the gun in the car. They know this always happens. They go into the car, they take the bullets out of the gun, they leave the gun, they go back to the party. Eventually the ex goes out and gets the gun. So they know they are in absolutely no danger because the gun is not loaded. And so, he becomes this big hero. But it's just like, what's the point? Like, you already know that how this goes about, he doesn't shoot anybody. So what's the point?
Well, part of his argument, and although this is still like kind of masking his pettiness, is supposed to be that, well, the guy got away. So like the way it resolved originally-ish, again, original is a strange word to use in this movie.
Yeah.
I believe in the actual original timeline, the guy didn't go to the party and that guy didn't show up or something. It's something really weird. Mm-hmm. So they actually have to even convince this guy to go to the party. But then the other thing, and remember, this all basically happens off screen. The other thing they bring up is, oh, well, he got away. No one got hurt, but he could do something at a later date. So we need to make this a perfect moment where not only do I get to be the hero, but we've got to make sure he's arrested and nobody's hurt. So I believe the idea is not only do they pull the bullets out of the gun, but they make sure the event goes such that he tries to shoot somebody even though the gun's unloaded, so the cops are called and he's arrested and put away in jail, so he can't hurt anyone forever. Not just accepting, like, oh, I know there's no bullets in that gun, so I can tell him to go home and get away. Like, it's kind of implied maybe they egged him on or let him go farther before telling him off. That way he would commit more to the horrible thing he was doing, so he could have a harsher consequence. Like, it's a really weird movie.
But yeah, it's important. It shows where their minds are at. It
and
shows
everything
that they
we've
aren't.
ever spoiled.
They're very smart, but in other areas they're really stupid.
I promise you, we haven't spoiled jack. Like, you're gonna watch this movie. If anyone here actually watches this movie, you're gonna be like, yeah, wow, that didn't change anything. Like, knowing all of that, that was still incredibly weird and confusing. And,
I mean, the biggest spoiler I think is when I said brunette too.
yeah, and that's about it.
And
even then,
until you watch the movie, you're not gonna really get much from that.
And even when you watch it, you may not click on exactly what has just happened until later. It's really friggin' weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all I have on that. And time travel, Back to the Future's fun.
Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise.
Okay, yeah, that was good.
That was a great movie. Okay.
I had incredibly low hopes for that. Like, I continuously underrate Tom Cruise because, in theory, I don't really enjoy what the kind of movie they're making, but they're dumb action movies done right. Like, yep, let's just have some cool set scenes, let's have some cool explosions, and let's make the rest of this fun. Like, both the Mission Impossible movies and Edge of Tomorrow are just well put together. And Edge of Tomorrow, I did not expect this, is funny. It's really
so
funny.
And the action is amazing. Like,
yeah.
It is a great movie.
It's got some cool action scenes. It's very cliche, but it's really funny, and it really sells it because it's funny, you know? And it helps make it feel real, you know? Like, this is, rather than just, oh, well, the cool guy fights and dies, blah, 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 and, you know, like, no, he gets run over by a truck trying to, like, outsmart his situation. Yeah, it's great.
Trying to get away from a CO.
Yeah, it's wonderful, and it's handled so well. So
yeah, I love Tom Cruise movies. Like, I think the only one I can think of that I didn't like was Vanilla Sky. I saw that when it came out. I was in elementary school or middle school, and I just didn't follow it. And I might give it a shot one day, but honestly, I don't really care to.
Yeah, I've heard weird things about it. I've never seen it. I know it's on the, like, Matrix, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind scale of reality. But yeah, that's about all I've got on that.
I liked Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind the first time I watched it, and then I tried to rewatch it again, and I couldn't finish it. I don't know. Like, I feel that for me, that was a movie I could only watch once.
I remember thinking, I get why people like this so much, but if I'm going to watch a movie like this that's trying to be a little bit higher concept, it's probably not going to be this one. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a good movie, it's not my movie.
I mean, like, I think it's really interesting, the idea that you can erase specific memories. You break up with someone and you just want to forget everything about them.
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, you know, things will happen, you don't remember them, you run into them again, that chemistry is still gonna be there.
Yeah, exactly.
It just naturally exists. And you might fall back into what you were in, and you might repeat everything all over again. So, it's interesting, but I don't want to watch it again. I'm good. Groundhog Day is one of the best comedies ever.
Yes, Groundhog Day is great. And it's another one where,
repeat
like,
every day. Like, so that one is straight up comedy versus Edge of Tomorrow is repeating every day, and it's also action. Yeah. With comedy.
And I heard that originally in Groundhog Day, you actually find out why it happened. That was in the plot. He was cursed by someone in the movie in, like, the original script. I forget who it's supposed to be, but it is a character you see a couple times in the movie.
I mean, it's got to be the one that when Bill Murray walks into a puddle and then he's just like, "Hey, Al!"
No, it's not that guy.
It's not that guy?
No, it's a woman. It's like an ex-lover or something weird like that. I forget the specifics, yeah. But no, they cut it from the movie because they just thought it was better without it, and I absolutely agree. Like, who cares why?
Yeah,
this
I
happened?
didn't. Yeah, I never cared.
Yeah, it's just and the movie's good because of that. You don't need to always explain everything. Just this is a good plot device. Let's have some fun with it. What would people do? I believe the theory is that he's there for like thousands of years, though. Or
Oh yeah, he's supposed to have been there for a very long time.
Yeah.
You want to know what my favorite episode of Supernatural is?
Yeah, I know what it
The
is.
heat
Yeah,
of the moment.
Yeah, I like that one too. That was a very good episode.
That is an amazing episode. Watching Dean die over and over and over again,
was
and watching
really-
Sam just get really, really upset and pissed was the best.
Like, I was definitely up and down on Supernatural, and then when they first pulled the gimmick, I immediately was looking for I'm like, okay, he's gonna get crushed by the piano or whatever it is.
Yeah,
But,
you called the piano.
Yeah, but I mean, no, they executed that so well. Like, that's how you do that sort of thing. Like, they had a lot of fun with it. They had the characters just go completely crazy. It was really, really, really well done.
Yeah, as soon as that episode started, I told David he had to turn his laptop off and he had to watch it.
I mean,
and he was a big baby about it, but he did it. You were a brat, and I was like,
Doubt.
no, you have to watch this.
Doubt.
You cannot be on your phone.
Doubt.
You're wrong. And it was worth it. That episode is amazing. I keep saying movie.
Yeah. No, I mean, I actually think that episode kind of stands on its own. Like, you could just get a very brief primer as to what Supernatural is, and then just watch that episode, and I think it's more than good enough.
I mean, it opens with Heat of the Moment, and Dean's singing it and dancing, and Sam is just like, if I have to hear this again, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
And then, Heat of the Moment! And then...
My favorite thing is just, the little ones, where he's like, where did you get those tacos? Heat of the Moment. It's that
he slips
clever.
in the shower!
Yeah.
Heat of the Moment!
Or no, it's, do these tacos taste funny to
Yeah,
you?
that's what- yeah.
And it's just they don't have to show him dying in the bathroom or whatever.
just imply it
just that
sometimes.
little thing is just so well done.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was really fun.
And then, it finally ends. Wednesday starts. And then, we're gonna go back in time! And Sam's just like, isn't this the greatest song you've ever heard?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it was such a good episode.
I'm trying to think if there's any other... Oh, yeah, Madoka had time travel. Yeah.
Oh, we talked about Madoka.
We did, and so did Future Diary.
And we talked about Future Diary.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
And Steins Gate.
And Steins Gate, the banana anime.
The banana anime, yes, dear. Oh, 12 Monkeys. I knew there was a movie.
the
I'm like,
banana
we're going to talk about time travel. Let's talk about time travel. 12 Monkeys is good.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I wish you guys could see his face. His jaw dropped and his
How?
eyes got 3 times the size. Is that Bruce Willis?
It's Bruce Willis.
Yeah, see, I've heard of it, and I'm sure I've had it spoiled,
Oh my
but I
God.
can't remember anything about it.
I'm shutting up now. We're watching that.
So, hopefully by the next time we have another, a video for you guys, I'll have watched this movie, because David is really angry with me.
I am! Oh, it's so... Oh! I can't... it would fit so well into what I want to talk about.
Calm down. We
It was the
only
missing
have,
piece.
5 minutes left anyways.
5 minutes.
Gosh, calm
Well,
down,
we'll have to
handsome.
do that 5 minutes 100,000 times as we loop through. No, not funny? Okay, I
No.
tried.
No.
Alright, so...
Are there any other time travel movies?
No.
I mean, you
Sure there are,
you
but...
briefly mentioned Back to the Future. That was great.
Oh yeah, I mean, those are always fun.
There's so much fun. Did you see Source Code with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Source Code?
Source Code.
Source Code.
So the premise.
Terminator's pretty good.
Oh, I love the Terminator movies. Oh my god. I actually prefer the first one to the second one.
I haven't seen Hot Tub Time Machine,
I have not either.
but my friend wants to make a movie about a killer hot tub. John.
That's weird. So, as I was saying, Source Code, the premise is a soldier wakes up in someone else's body and discovers he's part of an experimental government program to find the bomber of a commuter train within 8 minutes. That movie was awesome. I hated the last 3 minutes, though. If you guys have seen the movie, I'm sure you could probably figure out why I did not like the ending. I thought that was just... It was wrong. It was wrong, alright? It was wrong. Do you even have any inkling of wanting to see the movie? I don't know if you want me to go into spoilers or not.
Go nuts.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so, spoilers. Jake Gyllenhaal's character was caught in a bomb explosion, basically, and so all that's left of him is, like, his waist and up. And he isn't really aware of this, so you only find that out, I want to say, halfway through the movie, 3/4 of the way. It's been, I saw the movie when it came out, and that was it. But they're putting his conscience into someone else that was on this train in order to find out
your conscience
who...
be your guide.
I have like 3 minutes. You need to shush. He's meant to find the bomber and solve everything, and he does. And he ends up meeting a really pretty lady along the way. And eventually, he kind of befriends the woman that's helping him work this time travel-y kind of thing, you know, moving his consciousness into someone else. And I believe she unplugs him, and it doesn't kill him. He remains in the body of the person he took over, and he walks off with this girl. And I was like, no, this is ridiculous, because this implies that he has taken over some innocent person's body, and, or, you know, like, he's taken over their consciousness, and he's running the rest of their life. And I wish they had committed and killed him, because that makes more sense. Or if they had made it clearer that, you know, he's dead and this is his heaven. But I didn't like the ending. If you take off the last 2-3 minutes of the movie, I loved it. It was really interesting. I really liked it. You're looking up Jake Gyllenhaal movies, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what else he was in.
I think he's a really good actor. I
agree.
really like Jake Gyllenhaal.
You need to see Nightcrawler.
I don't want to see Nightcrawler.
You should watch Nightcrawler.
No, I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I want him to be pure.
Yeah.
Like The Day After Tomorrow, that was a great movie. He was in that one when he was really young, too.
Mm-hmm. You need to see Nightcrawler.
No, I don't want to.
It's a really good movie.
I believe you, but I don't.
Oh, it's by Villeneuve. No, Enemies by Villeneuve. I was going to say, there's no way I would have known that.
Well, we are right at the end.
Don't watch Arrival.
Oh, yeah, please don't. I did not like that movie.
And I love that director, but man, that was not a good movie.
That is the end of For Heavenly Beasts Day 23. I only got 2 hours and 32 minutes of footage. I am having a day. I had a friend get some bad news about work, and yeah, so it barely looks like I did anything. Well, actually, it kind of does, just because they're so dark, the colors that I did really stand out, but not as much as I was hoping. I did switch over to the old desk, because that other one, it was too small. I couldn't do it. It was not comfortable at all. Yeah, so I'm gonna go, like, take a nap now or something. So like, subscribe, share, comment, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video.